All righty. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Coffee Room with old John from ProCraps. Here it's Thursday. Whew, survived a week. I'll tell you what, it's been a rough week. We had I'll talk about the paycheck in a minute, but we had a couple of good days. We had a soul crusher, and then we had a slog fest today. So I'm kind of glad the week's over. It was kind of stressful out there. It was not my best throwing. And everything comes in ebbs and flows, right? Like last week, threw like a champion all week last week. This week's been rough sledding for whatever reason. So, that's it. That's law of big numbers, right? We know we're going to run into that kind of thing, all the time, right? And that's just how it works. Anyway, let's get to it here, and maybe a kind of a quicker than normal show today, but we'll get through it here. I got to get to work a little earlier than normal, but anyway, let's do a quick little recap of a couple things. One is going to be Craps Chat. So we talked about it yesterday briefly. Craps Chat is coming back for season 3. It'll be coming back in July sometime. I don't know when yet. The way it's going to work is this: the host will be new. Jeff has kind of wanted to step back a little bit. He's got some things going on. He just wants to have fun, right? Which is great. I think Jeff should have all the fun Jeff wants to have, right? And make his midday max just a good time and travel the country and play with everybody. That's what he wants to do. Good, awesome. But that means Craps Chat needs to be addressed. So we've talked around. We have a new host. I will actually have a show next week where we bring the new host on here. We'll talk about it. We will talk about our new format, the way that the show is going to change a little bit. If you are a Fox News fan at all, go watch the Gutfeld show sometime. That's what Craps Chat's going to feel like. I'll tell you that. I'll let that out of the bag. We're looking at that kind of a vibe where we have a smaller panel, oftentimes the same people on the panel, but bringing in random people here and there to sort of fill the panel out. Not a 12-person panel, but always 4 or 5 people. We'll have a couple, 2-3 topics to talk about. We're going to have some fun. It'll be an entertaining show as well as educational, but really the focus is going to be on just getting together and chatting as a group, right? Kind of just bring the community together. That's going to be it. We got to find a new day and time, obviously, because Jeremy from Color Up does his podcast now at 5:00 Sundays, which was the time for Craps Chat. So we don't want to bump into his toes at all. So either it'll be earlier on Sunday, later on Sunday, or it'll be Friday or Saturday. So we'll talk about that next week, and we'll get some feedback from y'all. But look for a show next week where we kind of bring the whole thing together, and we'll talk through what it's going to look like. Okay. I know that this morning in the chats for the daily paycheck, a lot of folks were like, hey, Jen, for example, boarding the airplane for Biloxi. I think Lou's already down there. So for everybody who's in transit, which is happening today and tomorrow down to Biloxi for the Brown Water Bash, safe travels. Good luck when you get there. And again, can't wait to hear all the great stories. I mean, there's a lot of heavy hitters going to be there, right? A lot of the big names will be there, which is great. And then of course, on the flip side, on Monday starts DiceCon. So folks are going to be in Biloxi this weekend. Some of them are going to turn around, go right to Vegas and go right to DiceCon starting Monday. I have to unfortunately miss both this year, but I wish you all good luck and safe travels, and hope that it's a good like time to celebrate the game. You know what I mean? So everybody enjoy while I'm packing boxes and doing my move. So all right, what else we got here? The Craps for the Cure 24 update is this: the casino is locked and loaded. I think they love what we're doing. They love us. They love everything about it. We're working with them and the Gaming Commission right now. That's the next update to get approval to do it. Now that's the hard part here, which I didn't think about. But if we're going to do donations at the casino, like in other words, if you're at the table and you win money and you want to, take some of your winnings and put it in the donation box, that's a thing that the Gaming Commission has a say in that. Even if we have like a donation box where people walking by can like drop their tickets in or their extra chips, the Gaming Commission has a say about that. So I don't know what has to be done if there's approvals with the charity or how that works out, but we're going to try and lock it in this way. I'm going to lock it in 2 phases. One phase will be the casino will host us for a private table for the whole time. That will be a thing we're going to lock in first. We'll lock in rooms and food and all that kind of stuff for the participants. If we have to do the donation piece of that thing completely separately, in other words, we take a tally of what the donations would have been, and then separately after the event, those donations happened. It may have to be that way. We may have to just do it by hand. But let's cross our fingers and hope that that's not a big deal. I think they do this all the time. So I think it's probably just getting the right form to fill out, and it should be okay. But that's where we are. The casinos I think liking our proposal. I think that it's about just getting it all together. So, yeah, like more information to come as I find stuff out. More information. Okay. Daily paycheck so far, we are 11-1 for June. My God, right? Look at that win percentage, right? And I told you, like, it's not going to happen. Like, and here's the thing. Today we did a different strategy, and I thank God I did. I've been going more YOLO, right? I've been going more like, with $7,000 bankroll, I've been going 3,600 across or 3,200 across. Basically, 50% of the bankroll, couple hits, and bye-bye. That's worked. That worked 10 times. One time, which was Tuesday, failed. Lost the $3,600 twice, right? Two bad throws, and that's why look at the loss, right? We battled back a little bit that day, but our losses, the one loss was $5K, right? The YOLO is great when it works. It sucks when it doesn't. And when you get banged on that first one, there's no coming back. You got to really work. So today I said, you know what? Instead of doing massive buy-in, 2 hits, which was the middle tier, we'll talk about that later on. Instead of doing like a middle tier, same bet, I went lower tier, same bet, and said, instead of getting 2 hits, we're going to take 3 to 4 hits. So we'll extend our time, but lower the risk. And again, we talk about this, the puppet strings you've got with the risk management. So I decided to optimize for bankroll, not time. Luckily, because the first 3 shooters today were PSOs. 3 times we lost 1,400, 1,400, 1,400. Just like, boom, right? That would have been our whole bankroll if I was doing the YOLO like normal. As it was, we went back out there with our last stop loss bet and had a great roll. Had like a 15 roller, made it all back plus profit. So we survived it today because we did bankroll management and lowered our risk. We won the other 10 times because we literally put our foot on the gas early. So, this is the thing, right? You're going to win 92% of the time. It takes luck to do that. Today was a lucky day. We were unlucky on Tuesday, and you're going to have to ride that wave a little bit, right? You can't, unless you're a precision shooter, which I'm not. You have to get lucky to make it happen. So we did get lucky, and overall we're looking okay. We're at 34,000 in profit still. So we're at 44,000 total master bankroll. We're not quite halfway. Another couple of good wins, we'll be at halfway, and we'll start getting the bigger buy-ins, right? We'll start getting the $10,000 buy-ins, and we'll start really kind of crushing things. So it should be, man, hopefully by the end of this month, we'll be there. We can call ourselves at the halfway point. We started this thing last September, something like that. I forget when we started it, but I guess not. Because we're at show number 180. So we're about halfway through the year. So it's taken us about half a year to get halfway, roughly, a little more than half the year. It should take us less than half of that time to get home. Cross fingers. Let's hope. Yeah, Duracell says 2 things with whaling. You need a bankroll and a recovery strategy, which we do have the bankroll, right? Our recovery strategy today was to regress, build up, regress, build up, regress all the way down and play it out. So we did 2 major regressions today as part of our recovery. That's how we did it today. And having the lower bankroll allowed me to do that. So we had a good plan of attack today. When the YOLO didn't work, we adjusted and did a good job. So I'm happy with that. Skill says, what does a player need when they want to play out of their comfort zone with higher pressing bets? And I guess you need a couple things. I think you need, let's I hate to say it like you need to not care, but you need to not care. Like, in other words, if I wanted to do my YOLO style of play here, this regression thing, and I want to optimize for time, what I would do is take, let's say $500, right? Or $600. Let's say 500. Go out there 320 across, which is a major, like, holy crap, that's more than half your bankroll, right? Take the hit for $70, regress down to 160, take the hit at 35, come off the table with $105 in profit, right? Take the shot, right? If you don't get it, if you lose the 320, you're left with 180. Either walk away and say, well, it didn't work today. You need to have the chutzpah to do that and the I don't care to do that. Or you say, my secondary plan is go back out there at 160, take 3 hits, pull it back, wait. Go back out at 160, take 3 hits, pull it back, wait. And build that 320 back $100 at a time. 3 hits at 160 across is $105 roughly. So just do it 3 times, recover yourself back, start over again. Have that plan in place ahead of time. Don't go out there and just pray it's going to work. You got to have kind of a, okay, when I lose this, here's the next play in advance. You got to know that. And your bankroll's got to be set to the point where you know what you've got and what you're willing to give up. And sometimes, I'm willing to give up 320, not the whole 500 or not the whole 1,000. I'm going to give it one shot and that's it. So you got to make that call. You got to know ahead of time what your plan is. Okay. Yeah. JR says it great. Proper planning prevents piss poor performance. It's super true, right? Super true. And that's what we had today. We had a good plan today, not good rolling, and it ended up we recovered at the end. So, all right, there's that. Let's get into the topic of the day here, which is going to be progression betting. One of my favorite things to talk about. And we'll talk about this probably a couple of different times moving forward. I want to give you kind of an overview today. But again, grounding. Goals. Have a goal. We talked about this 5 minutes ago, right? You got to have a goal to get it done. You don't got something in your mind, right? You have nothing to shoot for. Dan asked a question yesterday. Nice, Dr. Dan. When is good enough? Good enough. Close enough. Good enough. Today's goal was 1,300, right? I squeaked out $800 today after being down about $3,000. We squeaked all that back and got to $800 up. That's a win, right? Not having a loss today would have been a win. Not having a loss of $1,000 would have been a win today. As it turns out, we profited $800. I'm fine, man. That's good enough diploma, man. We're out of here. Close enough is good enough sometimes. My strategy accounts for the way that I win, right? Either I'm going to win it all in one roll or 2 rolls, or I'm going to do something different that takes 3 or 4 rolls like I did today. That's how we do it. Having the bankroll lets me recover, right? I went out today knowingly with a lower level to win less money more often. I had bankroll backing me if it didn't work, and it didn't work. Luckily, the bankroll saved us. You got to have that kind of, out front to decide what you're going to do ahead of time. That's your brain. Your brain gets in the way of you sometimes. Your brain can lead you sometimes, but as long as you got discipline, you're out of here. So that's the basics, right? Of all the things I teach, that's what it's all about to me, right? Being mindful. Today, though, we're going to run into another play style. Okay, I want to examine all the different ways you can play the games. And it's not just craps, it's all the games. So our play style today, session 12, is going to be progressive betting for the win. Okay. I love progressive betting. Okay. And it fits into this pretty well. Remember, there's 3 basic core ways that I think you can gamble. All the things that we do, all the strategies, everything you see on YouTube, everything you read in a book boils down to some variation of these 3 things, which is starting with some small level, table minimum or the minimum amount you're willing to lose. Start small and build your bets up. Take some wins, take some off the table, get bigger as you go. That's one way. You can start with a little bit of a higher bet, medium-sized bet, and just collect all day long. Just get a good, meaningful bet out there and just same bet it. Same betting works really, really well, right? The third thing you can do is a regression strategy, which is go higher than you're willing to lose. You have to be willing to lose that bet, but go higher than your comfort zone is, right? Maybe it's $100 bet. Take the win, come back down. Your next bet is $25, which gets you back your 100 back in the rack. It gets you back a $75 profit. And now you're playing with house money or with profits. So starting high takes a little bit of, but regress down, you're playing free and clear. You start in the middle, right? Get the collection machine going. That's a great way to play, or start small and build up. How you merge those together, how you employ that stuff as a strategy, that's your strategy. How you're going to put the bets out there, what your plan of attack is. I think if you do that in a phased way, that makes you dangerous. And I think that's where the 401 courses lead us, is like, okay, we can like understand that the math is going to get you. We can understand it's a negative EV game, no matter what game it is. We can understand all of that. The law of big numbers will get you. All those things are true, right? Where you put your money, how much money you put out there, and how you handle the money when it's out there is the difference between winning $50 or $200 on the same set of outcomes, or potentially losing $25 in that same set of rolls or spins or hands. It's how you play your bets does matter. And again, everything stems from those 3 core ways to play. Today, I want to talk about progressions. This is not necessarily pressing. Okay, to me, progression betting and pressing are two different things. Okay, they both put your profits out there to do a job. Progression betting is really kind of a foot to the floor, all or nothing kind of a thing. Okay, the problem with progression betting, and you'll see this, it does not optimize at all for time, at all. It could be, you could be out there forever. The donks of a progression better depends on what you're progressing, but typically speaking, it's going to be half of the things beat you and half of the things win for you. It's usually a 50-50 prop when you're doing a progression type of system. So yeah, your donks are going to be maybe more, right? But you're optimizing for money. And you'll find that with progression betting, you're taking big swings, big home run swings, but you're using very small bets to do so. This actually is kind of an offshoot. If you go backwards here, it's an offshoot of start small and build, right? Progression betting is starting with the smallest you're willing to lose and building your bets. Progressions just build your bets very aggressively. That's the difference between a progression better and a standard presser, okay? Now again, buckle up, it can take a while. If you're looking to win a progression, your condition is well known. You're gonna need 2, 3, 4, 5 things to happen in a row for it to work. So buckle up, that can take a minute, right? Your donks, it's less about the number of ways to lose, right? When you're progression betting, it's more about missing the runs, right? Your donks aren't like that number beat me. Your donk is going to be more like, I needed 5 in a row, I got 4. I needed 5 in a row, I got 3. You're just not going to, you're going to be sputtering a lot, right? But you've only got 1 unit at risk most of the time. And I think that to me is the biggest advantage of playing a progression system. You're only going to typically have 1 unit at risk. And your total risk, therefore, is scoped. If I'm going to say, you know what, we're going to put $25 at risk 10 times. We're going to try for a miracle. I'm willing to risk the $250. I know what it is. It's never going to be more than 1 unit on any one spin or roll or whatever. And I know what it's going to be. I'm taking 10 cracks at it. If we catch the miracle, we catch the miracle, right? If we do, it's a big reward, right? Progressions have massive rewards. They're designed to win 10, 15, 20 units when they work. That's the whole point of it, right? And again, your number of attempts is very well known, right? If it wins 10, and I'll show you here, you know that this one progression we do wins 10 units when it works. That means I have 9 times to try it. I can try it 9 times, and if it works on the 9th time, I made 2 units, and I'm back to start again. You can keep on going, right? That's the thing. You know how many cracks at it you have, which is kind of cool, right? That's an advantage to me. Now, on the flip side of that, when you're progression betting, it takes a miracle to win. You're looking for 3, 4, or 5 in a row before you collect, right? And it can be tough sledding to do that. It's frustrating. I've done it on my shows. You've seen me do this on the pass line or the don't pass line in craps. And I've tried a progression bet during the paycheck show. And it's like, man, you're getting crushed down there. You know, I'm just feeding that beast on the line. And eventually all the non-miracles add up and I lose 9 times in a row. But when it works, it gets hammered, right? And it makes that all back. The thing about it is this. It takes a miracle to win. It doesn't take much to lose, right? You need 4 or 5 in a row. That means if you get 2, 3, or 4, you're losing on 2, 3, or 4 consecutive wins. You can still lose, right? That's a big disadvantage, right? And again, on the comp side of things, all that bet movement can be easily missed, right? You start at 1 unit and you're progress, and then you're back down to 1 unit again, right? When they're looking at your bets, they're going to catch the 1 unit most of the time. Right. So from a comp standpoint, you got to, again, make sure that that's getting seen. It's an important thing. So what are some of the progressions that we're going to look at? I'm going to go to my table here. We're going to look at some of these things, but let's examine, for example, the Paroli, which is a 2, 3, or 4 hit in a row. These are all 4 in a row, right? The 1, 2, 3, 4 up and pull after initial parlay. The aggressive 1, 3, 2, 4, which I really like a lot. There's a parlay press that will show you, which gets complex, but it can ramp up quick, which is kind of nice. And then there's the permanent press, which you go up to a level or a count on every outcome, right? These are all ways to be hyper aggressive down there. And I think when you look at them and I'll play this out for you here in a minute. When you look at them in isolation, you're like, that would be great to do. But again, more often than not, on the disadvantage screen, more often than not, it doesn't take much for you not to win. You're going to burn that unit every single time. So let's head back over to that table and let's take a look at a couple of these things. and under the microscope. So give me a minute here to change over the screen and we will take a look at it. I'm going to go to this table. I think if I go here, that's not what I want. I want this table there. Can you see my table okay? Not the best view of it, but let's get in there and get into it. And I see that the chatters have got some ideas of their own. This is great. Progression betting, again, there's so many ways to do this. This is just some of the more popular ones. So many ways to attack a streak. This, to me, is the way that you beat up a streak when it happens. And again, doesn't happen very often, but when it does, it does. Here we go. I'm going to go down and to show you one. We'll put a quarter in the field so you can see it nice and clear. Okay, now let's take the Paroli as the first one. I got it up on screen. The Paroli is a 4-streak parlay. You can do it in 3, but here's what happens. Watch this. 1 unit. If it wins, we're gonna go with the if it works thing. If it works, you win a unit and you parlay it. Okay. If that works, you win 2 units, and I'll leave them all here. You're gonna parlay that. So we'll do 1. You have a 2-unit bet out there. Now you have a 4-unit bet out there. On the 3rd hit, it would win 4 units, and you parlay it again. That's the first win, second win, 3rd win. If you stop at 3 wins, by the way, your net profit is 7 units, which is not bad. Okay. If you do the real Paroli and go for the next win, 1, 2, 3, 4, your total 4, 8, 11 units in profit. Okay, if it works out for you, right? Again, parlay the first one, wins 2. Parlay it, wins 4. Parlay that. Now you got 8 units. I'm sorry, 8 units out there. You'd win 8 units on the last hit. I counted that wrong. You would win 8. You'd win all this, right? So you're going to win 8, 12, 13, 14, 15 units. The Paroli is a 15-unit win. Now, what I said before was this. You can stop in the middle at 3 if you get scared to do the 4th one. But we know that it wins 15 when it works, which means if you're going to come out here and say, I'm going to give it 10 tries. I'm going to give it 10 tries. Let's say that you lose. Let's say that you lose 8 of them. You lose, there's 5. Let's say you lose it 8 times. That sucks. But on the 9th time, it wins, and it wins the 15 units, right? 5, 10. It profits you 15. On the 9th one, you win 15 units. Well, you lost 8 earlier. 5, 6, 7, 8. You're still up a net of 7, right? So as you go, okay, cool, now I'm up 7 units. I got 17 more tries at it to get the 15, right? You can take those wins and keep stacking them. That's the way these progressions work. Guys that play progressions like this, right, know that I've got really 10 to 14 tries if I want to at that one, because I know that the miracle pays me 15. That's what you do in these things, right? The other one I'll show you is the 1, 3, 2, 4. It's actually a 2-unit. This one's a 2-unit investment. Your first unit, you win it. You win your 1, you drop another one from your rack. There's your 2-unit investment. So you go from 1 unit to a 3-unit bet. When the 3-unit bet wins, again, this is going to be hit number 2. When 3 units wins, you regress back to 2. In your rack goes 1, 2, 3, 4. You got your 2 units back that you had invested, plus 2 units in profit. Now you're at 2. When it wins, you parlay the win, and when that wins, you win 4, and your net is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a 10-unit play for a 2-unit investment. Okay, and again, you brought money back on the second one. The Paroli never brings money back. It wins 5 units more, but it never brings money back. This one brings money back on the second hit. So at least you're out of the hand and you get to keep the progression going. This one optimizes more for time, but at a slight bankroll cost. I like the 1, 3, 2, 4. You can go with 1, 2, 3, 4 also, right? So take a hit, go from 1 unit to 2 units. When 2 units wins, go to 3 units. Take back your initial money. So again, you get that money back. Then 3 units becomes 4 units, taking profit back. 4 units wins, of course, 4 units. And when all said and done, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units in profit. The 1, 3, 2, 4 and the 1, 2, 3, 4 both profit you 10. They both bring back money to the rack on that second hit. The 1, 3, 2, 4 brings back more on the second hit than the second one does. But that's a little up and pull kind of action for you, right? The parlay press, one of my favorites, is a good builder strategy. It works really well on the lines, right? The parlay press works like this. Your first bet is 1 unit. It wins, and you parlay it. If the parlay wins, you take that back to your rack, which gets your money back plus profit. Your next level is level 2. So you stay here. If 2 units wins, you press it up. If that wins, the parlay, your next bet is level 3. So you actually go to 3 units and take back 5 to your rack. If a 3-unit bet wins, you parlay it up to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units wins. Your next bet is a 4-unit bet. All that comes back to the rack. So every time you win, you parlay. After a parlay win, you just keep increasing the base bet by 1 unit. And the parlays become huge. Look how much money comes back, right? You got 5, 10, 15 units in the 4 hits. The same number of hits, but you got massive amount of money coming back. And you're always bringing back. This one here, you're bringing back money almost every hit. That's the parlay press move, okay? The permanent press just adds a unit every time, no matter what. So you got 10 cracks at it. Let's say we're in the field, right? Let's do a quick field thing. It's a 4. We win it and we press it. We get a 6, we lose it, but the next bet out of your rack is 3 units, right? There's a 5. We lose the 5, come back out at 4. It's like a negative progression, but also at the same time, when these things start to win, good Lord, there's a lose that, come back out with 5. Always going up by a unit no matter what. 5 wins, look at that, triple, right? 5 wins 15 units, and you're out of the hand, right? You're waiting for that to happen. So you keep pressing up, whether you win or lose, go up a unit. Up to like maybe a max of 10 units from your rack. Something like that. When you get to 10 units, you can stop. A win anywhere along the way there recovers all that, right? Again, progressions take guts. It takes patience. It takes bankroll to get through it. They're all fun. I look at these things like a little side bet, frankly, right? Let's come back over to the main view here. In my view, these are kind of like I said, they're kind of like side bets, because if I'm doing like a whatever, let's say I'm playing craps. Let's say I'm playing roulette even, right? Let's say I'm doing like something with the dozens. I have a roulette dozens thing going. I'm working the dozens and maybe like a street or something. And I'm trying to, grind money out there. Having a progression going on the red at the same time, one of these progressions, just working red and black with the progression while you're doing something else out there, that's a great way to kind of jumpstart things, right? On a craps table, doing a progression on the line, or maybe even, God forbid, in the field, while you're doing your regular strategy, that thing becomes a separate little play. And you can say, I'm going to risk 250, 10 quarters to get 4 in a row in the field. And I'm going to run a paroli. And I'm going to try 10 times. And if I can turn that 25, that 1 green chip into 15 green chips at some point along the way, that little gambit worked out for me while I was doing other things. These progressions are really cool if it's not your primary play. But again, it's basically a play on the core ways to play. If I go back and I remind you, let's go now that you've seen it, right? We go back up here and look at the core ways to play. A progression is a start small and build system, right? You can call it what you want to, all those names that we give it so we don't forget what they're called, right? The strategy is the paroli, whatever, right? Ultimately, it's this. It's starting small, 1 unit, and trying to build, but we're building aggressively with a plan, right? One of the advantages of a progression is that it's a planned build, right? We know what it's going to take for wins. We know what our base bet is, and you can plan it all out. And you kind of know, you scope your wins and losses. The best use case for this, to me, they're great on 50-50 bets. They're great, like I say, in conjunction with other plays. Progress the pass line while working your place bets. It's a power move on higher paying bets. If you want to go with a big progression on a 5 or a 9 or a 4 or a 10 in craps, if you're already in profit, you want to go just destroy something, it's a power move if you can afford not to collect, right? Those like a paroli on a 5 or a 1, 3, 2, 4 on a 6 or an 8 or a 4 or a 10, they're massive. They're massive when they win, right? It's a power move from a strong position. I think it's very interesting playing this way. And I think that when you catch a streaky game, like Baccarat, very streaky game, The red and black in roulette, very streaky. The field in craps, very streaky. If you happen to be in on a streak, like you get the first one of these things can pop for you. You can make pretty good money pretty quick. Just know that it's a gambit, it's a side bet. It's not the primary way I would say you got to play, but it's a great way to hammer something when it happens good. So there is that. Let's go look at some questions from y'all here. Let's see. I'm looking at all this stuff here. My goodness, there's so many chats. Let's see. Gary says, for the daily paycheck, it seems like once I reach the 1,000 profit goal, good place to hold, right? Exactly. It's interesting. I could just keep it at $1,000 and just win $1,000 every day forever, versus buying in for higher. Like again, when I go from $6,000 buy-ins to $7,000 buy-ins, the goal goes up, right? When I buy in for $10,000, now the goal is $2,000, right? Because the bankroll manages that. What we've done is say the bankroll. What the bankroll has to say about that is, whatever. If it's $1,000 and I'm betting $100 per spot, or $100 wins, $10,000 means $1,000 wins. It's just percentage based, right? And it gets it done quicker. I could see keeping 1,000 as is and just leaving $1,000 as the goal and winning $1,000 a day forever. I think when we get to the point where our bankroll is at $100,000, that will be the case. When we're at $100,000, every day's buy-in is going to be 5. Every day's goal is going to be 1,000, and we'll never change the goal. I'm doing this compounding thing right now so I can build that bankroll to 100,000 quickly, and then start doing what you're saying, which is more of an actual daily paycheck. Right now I'm in bankroll builder mode, so I'm compounding my wins. Eventually we'll be to the level, and then we can just stay at that level and just crank out $1,000 a day. I'm with you, 100% with you on that one. Let me check for other questions that are in here. Skill asks, if a person is scared of the triple Lux but wants to try it, how do they overcome their fear? The way you overcome your fear with that is you have to do it with either money you don't care about, and I know we all care about our money, but you can't try it unless you're willing to just burn it, because it's so rare that the triple Lux works. What you have out there, you've got to be willing to burn. The best place to try it is on bubble craps. Go out there at $6 across and try it, where you're burning $6 every time, not 160 every time, or not 64 every time. Do it at a small level, A, to get a feel for how you make the bets, and B, so you get a real look at how hard it is to do that thing, right? Work on regressions too. I think you can regress down into it. For me at my local casino, I'll give you an example. My local casino, $5 tables. I can go out there 160 across, take one hit for $35 and go 32 across. I do this all the time. Take the big stride at. I'll buy in for 700, go 160 across, take a hit, go to 32, and just pedal to the metal. Don't care about the $32, right? Literally do not care. A matter of fact, I'll take the other $3 and go hard ways with it. I'll take the whole $35, put it out there, let it happen, right? That's just trying for something miraculous, right? It's like bubble craps in person, basically. That's what I would do. If you want to try the triple Lux, try it at a low level, or regress into it. And again, regress into it at a low level table. Great idea would be stadium craps, where your total bet spread has to be $5. So $6 across works for that thing. You can go 32 across, let that shooter at the square table make you one number, pay $7, go $6 across. That's what I would do. Practice the triple Lux at low levels till you get comfortable with how it works. You can't do it without bankroll. That's the big thing. You can't do it without bankroll. There you go. There's that. Let's look at any PC questions here. Another question that came up is the date set. That was for the Crash for the Cure. No, I'm wanting the 19th of October as my primary date choice, but that's NASCAR weekend. So it might be the week before or the week after. The casino will have something to say about that. My fear is that if we do it on the 19th, because it's NASCAR weekend, we won't get any rooms comped for our players, and the table minimum will probably be 25 instead of 10 or 15. That's my fear. So if we can back up a week or go forward a week, we can all play at human size levels. Some guys will play, of course, huge, which is great, but I'd like to not force everybody at a $25 table if I can help it. So that's potentially a week ahead. And if it's the week ahead, that's great, because the weekend before us, the 12th weekend, that next week, I think, is when Big AZ's in town. So we can actually do the Craps for the Cure and then lead into the Big AZ weekend and have that. That could be super cool, right? That might be actually really great. Okay, Dursa says only progression on the line is not ideal. It's only ideal, like I say, if it's a side shot, right? If I'm going to go, do a little line bet while I'm doing other things, it's good for that. I wouldn't do it as my primary play. I don't think progressions are a good primary play. I think they're a great secondary play, unless you're at like a Baccarat table. Baccarat, a progression, I think, is the way to win at that game. Matter of fact, when I learned progression betting is when I got quote unquote good at Baccarat. I love Baccarat, and I used to do like a little up and pull in that game. When I learned progression betting from a guy I sat next to one day, that changed the way I approach Baccarat, because I just do it. $10 minimum bet or 20, whatever. I think it was 20 back in the day. And you could take that 20 and turn it into 200 in no time. Just bank, 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 bank. You're at $200 and you're like, damn, like that happens so fast. And then you run, because those streaks, when they happen, but they don't happen sequentially, right? You got it. When you hit one, you boogie. That's where I learned it, on those 50-50 bets. But yeah, craps, not the best place for it, for sure. I think it's better served in blackjack, baccarat, or on the 50-50s on roulette. In my personal experience, that's been the case. So, Waylon's Way craps, right? What we should do, I think, Waylon, is make, when we I gotta get your logo to you, but when we do the Waylon's Way crap shirts, when we design those things, right, the Waylon's Way in the front, we need to have Waylon quotes on the back. I think like across the back of your shirt should be a quote, right? And it'll always like be satisfied, like walk away when you're satisfied, or never take money you can't afford to lose, or whatever. Like some of your great Waylonisms should be on the back of the shirts. That'd be pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I like that idea. It's my idea, so of course I like it, right? But that'd be awesome, because you have so many great little one-liners, dude. People would love it. Yeah, I think, Biff, roulette, baccarat, that's where it's, because you find those pockets, and they happen fast. You know what I mean? In craps, a line progression can take 2 hours. If you're doing like you need to get 4 in a row on the pass line, you're going through the table 3 times. Right before that happens, you'll be there for 6 hours. So, there you go. If you're at the 19th, you'll be in town. Cool. I don't know. Like I said, we don't know when it's going to be. We'll week before, week after. I'll probably still, if it's the week before, actually it doesn't matter. Whatever week it's going to be, I'll be there the whole time. I'm either going to go the 12th, do the Craps for the Cure, stay the week with Big AZ, stay for the NASCAR race and go home, or I'm going to come for the NASCAR race, stay the week, and then do our thing the next weekend, right? It'll be either way. I'll be there for NASCAR weekend on the 18th. So if you're going to be in town anyway, we can play. So, okay. Dice Dr. Dan, run to Henderson. Potentially, yes, you have to go to Henderson for this. The casinos on the Strip in downtown want nothing to do with it. It is what it is. I can't fight City Hall sometimes, right? So there you go. JR says it happens. It does happen regularly. I know what you're saying, but like you catch 4 or 5 in a row, and you catch it early, like we saw, right? If I catch my first 1 or 2 base bets turns into 15, that's more than hitting goal for most people. You got to run, right? If you want to take that, let's say that you take 1 unit, turn it into 15 units, lock up the 10, and take the extra 5 you won and take 5 more cracks at it with that would be a great way to maybe catch that second one. But yeah, those streaks, when you catch one, boy, it's so fun. Oh, you're talking about the 4 pass and 4. Yeah. The thing is, it's slow. Craps is a slow game. It could take 4 people. It could take 6 people to get you there. So, all right, that's it. It's 8:45, guys. I got to go to my day job. So appreciate y'all. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for the great comments, the good ideas. Keep them coming. Keep your questions and ideas coming for Craps Chat. We're going to start show up pretty soon. Like I said, we'll have an intro session in about a week to talk about what's going to happen, probably after DiceCon's over. So, with that said, everybody, I am out. Love y'all. God bless. And I'll see you in the next one. John's out. Bye.